The Arrow 50% off sale is still in full swing at Barnes & Noble stores and on their website, but already several of their titles have just seemed to have disappeared, including the 4K editions of Barbarella and Tremors 2 and Witness. But fear not, because we have several Arrow titles that are still worth considering, and that brings us to today's episode. This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet, full of all the stuff that I love. And today we recommend 3 box sets and 3 single discs from Arrow that are still available as of this recording from Barnes & Noble. Let's check them out. First off, let me mention that all of these items I'm going to show you today are on the Barnes & Noble website as of this recording for 50% off. The box sets I'm going to show you, I'm going to assume are standard editions, not limited editions. What that means is it's not going to have special things like posters and art cards and a booklet, but all the extra features on the discs themselves should be still there. I'm not going to read off all the extras. You can check those out on your own. They all do have extra features on them, and they're all Region A. So you would need to be in Region A or have a multi-region player to watch these. And I do want to apologize to anyone watching this outside the US, because I don't know if you have access to Barnes & Noble. I don't know if Barnes & Noble website ships outside the US, but you can try other vendors if you want to, like maybe Amazon Global or something like that. But the first box set I want to show you, and the reason why I chose these 3 box sets is because I kind of got addicted to them. Once I watched one of them, I wanted to really go through each film in those box sets. Now, maybe some of you can relate that you have some box sets, you watched one film or maybe 2 films in there and you thought, yeah, I'll get to it later on, some other ones. It didn't really hook you that much. These 3 really hooked me, and the first one I want to mention is Years of Lead. This is 5 classic Italian crime thrillers from 1973 to 1977. I did post an episode on this box set. There's far more details in that episode than I'm going to go into now, so you can check that out. These are all also on my Letterboxd page, all the films I'm going to show you here. Years of Lead refers to a period in Italy during the 60s, 70s, and 80s of random and rampant violence in that country, and that's reflected in all these films. Usually each film involves a law enforcement officer who's obsessed with catching a killer or killers. And you can expect car chases, some over-the-top violence, some very groovy 70s style hair and fashion. And all these films are in Italian with English subtitles. Some are available English dubbed. I don't recommend that. But let's take a look at what's inside this box set. We start off with No, the case is happily resolved. That's a very good one. There's one film on this disc, and the other 2 have 2 films. So in this one you have Savage 3 and Like Rabid Dogs. I think Like Rabid Dogs was my least favorite. I'm not sure. And then on this disc there are also 2 more, Colt 38, Special Squad, and Highway Racer. So special features on all of those. There's a booklet in the limited edition, and there's reversible artwork as well. The second box set that I would like to recommend from Arrow is Vengeance Trails, 4 classic westerns. I did not post an episode on this one. All the films, though, are on my Letterboxd page. These are 4 Italian westerns from 1966 to 1970. You can expect a high body count, fast-moving plot, some very stylish visuals. There's a revenge theme throughout, of course, Vengeance Trails. A lot of Western tropes and some really, really bad guys in here. They followed this up with 2 other box sets called Blood Money and Savage Guns, I believe. I have not seen those yet, so I can only speak to this one. These are all in Italian with English subtitles. Lucio Fulci directed one of these, Massacre Time. He's best known for horror, of course. And Massimo Dallamano directed, I believe, 2 of the films in this set. And he was the cinematographer for the first 2 Dollars films. I'm talking about A Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. So he branched out into directing. And 2 of his directorial efforts are on here. The actors involved here include Franco Nero, Django himself, and Klaus Kinski actually playing the protagonist in one of these films. So let me show you what films are included here. We have Massacre Time. This is the one directed by Lucio Fulci. My Name is Pecos. Bandidos. And God Said to Cain, and that's the one with Klaus Kinski. As you can see, all of these films have extra features on them. The limited edition has a poster and a booklet, and they all have reversible artwork. The third Arrow box set I'd like to recommend is Enter the Video Store, Empire of Screams. Now, there's no episode posted on this one. All the films, though, are on my Letterboxd page. Now, I had zero interest when this was first announced, but finally, I bought into the hype when people became so enthusiastic about this set, and I'm really glad I did because it's very enjoyable. And again, I went through this probably in about a week. Empire Pictures is a production company that was founded in 1983. They produced and or distributed about 50 films within the next 5 years, and mostly genre films like science fiction, horror, or action films. Stuart Gordon has directed 2 of the films in this set. He's best known for the classic horror film Reanimator, but the ones in here that he directed are nowhere near as crazy or as gory as that one is. So you can expect some fun films, cheesy special effects, kind of campy B-movies basically. And for many people, there was a nostalgia factor for this. I guess they grew up watching these, but not for me. And the nostalgia factor was not an issue for me because I was 27 when this production company first came into existence. So I just enjoyed them. So let me show you what's in here. This sleeve comes off like this. And by the way, I did see this in my local Barnes & Noble store. And then this comes off. And let's take a look at the films here. First off, we have The Dungeon Master. This is kind of almost an anthology film, really. And then we have Dolls. I think this is probably the best film in the set. This is one of the ones that Stuart Gordon directed. Cellar Dweller, which is about a monster that somebody draws that kind of comes to life. Robot Jocks. This is sort of a ripoff of RoboCop. And Arena. This is probably the weakest one in here. It's almost like a low-budget version of Starship Troopers. But all of these have extra features on them. They all have reversible artwork. And the limited edition comes with a nice booklet and some art cards. Those are the 3 box sets on Arrow. They're currently 50% off that I wanted to mention to you. And there's one more that's sort of an honorable mention. And I wasn't going to put this in there, but I really like Ju-On, the Grudge Collection. This is 6 Japanese horror films. They're all kind of interconnected from 2000 to 2009. And this is not on the Barnes & Noble website. It's going on Amazon for $100, and it is Region B. So for all those reasons, I was reluctant to put that in there. But if you want to pursue it, I really enjoyed this set quite a bit. I did post an episode on this, and all the films in this set are on my Letterboxd app. So let me show you what's in here. Going in order of the films, we have Ju-On, The Curse, and The Curse 2. Ju-On, The Grudge. This one's in 4K and Blu-ray, and that was remade American version of The Grudge. And Ju-On, The Grudge 2. And then the most recent ones, White Ghost and Black Ghost. And I thought they all were really very well done and did different takes on this house where these strange things happen. Let's move on now to 3 Arrow single discs that I'd like to recommend to you during this Barnes & Noble sale. I have not posted any episodes on any of these 3. The first one is Kansas City from 1996. This is probably my favorite jazz-themed film, second only to Round Midnight, which I did do an episode on. The music plays throughout this film. It's basically a character in this film. And there's top-notch jazz musicians appearing in here. People like Ron Carter and Joshua Redman and Christian McBride. If you're a jazz fan, you know those names. These guys are top of their field. And there's even a 6-minute duel between two jazz saxophone players in this film, which is just amazing. The plot is basically about how love, crime, race, and politics intersect in Kansas City during the 1930s. Jennifer Jason Leigh's husband is kidnapped by crime boss played by Harry Belafonte, and she goes through some extraordinary things to try to get her husband back. It was directed by Robert Altman, who was born in Kansas City, so this is a very personal film for him. And this, he's made so many great films like The Long Goodbye, Three Women, Nashville, some of my favorites. And this falls in between Shortcuts and Gosford Park in his filmography. So what's on this disc? Well, there's an Altman commentary. There is a visual essay. There are several little featurettes. There's a booklet. And there is some reversible artwork on this one. The second single Arrow disc I'd like to recommend is Man of 1,000 Faces from 1957. This is a biopic, and usually I don't like biopics, but it's about the life and career of silent screen horror icon Lon Chaney. What influenced him growing up, what inspired his various characters and his makeup, and then his personal relationships as well. Now, some people criticize this film, saying it's very inaccurate and a little too melodramatic. I loved watching this on TV growing up. Still enjoyed watching this as an adult. It stars James Cagney as Lon Chaney. This is 2 years after Cagney was in Mr. Roberts. It was directed by Joseph Pevney, who directed a film noir I really liked and did an episode on called Shakedown. And he directed every TV show, classic TV show you can think of, from Star Trek to The Munsters to Wagon Train to The Fugitive. What's on this disc? There's an audio commentary by some horror film experts. There's a feature about Lon Chaney. There's a booklet, and there's reversible artwork. The third single disc I want to recommend to you is Schlock from 1973. Now, this one is not for everybody. If you're a fan of old monster movies and you're a comedy fan, I think this could be for you. It's made in 12 days on an extremely low budget. It's a tribute to and a spoof of monster films from the 50s and 60s, among other things. I saw this in high school in 73. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I still think it's funny. It's about the missing link between man and ape called the Schlockropus, and he's terrorizing a small Southern California town. It was written and directed by John Landis. This is his directorial debut. Of course, he went on to make films like Animal House and Trading Places and An American Werewolf in London. Landis also stars in here as the monster, the Schlock monster, which was created by Rick Baker early in his career as well. Of course, he's a makeup legend at this point, working on films like Videodrome and Coming to America and The Ring, among many, many others. So, not for everybody, but if you like spoofs of these low-budget, bad monster films in the 50s and 60s, I think you're going to like this one. So what's on this disc? There's a commentary with Landis and Baker. There are video interviews, these guys looking back on what they had to go through to get this film made and how it's their first film. And there's a booklet, and there is some reversible artwork. Those are the 3 single discs from Arrow I recommend, but I do have 2 honorable mentions, and the first one is The Snake Girl and the Silver-Haired Witch from 1968. This is a Japanese film, horror film, about 2 rival shape-shifting sisters who must join forces to battle an evil creature. I did post an episode on this one. I think it's a very effective Japanese horror film. Not many people watch that episode, but maybe it'll get some more attention now. And it was actually originally made to be, I think, a children's film, but it's way too creepy and atmospheric for that. And the other honorable mention goes to JSA, Joint Security Area from 2000. After a shootout at a common security area at the border of North and South Korea, there's a major is assigned to investigate what exactly happened. This one stars Song Kang-ho, who was in Memories of Murder and Parasite, two wonderful films, and it was directed by Park Chan-wook, who is best known, I think, for Old Boy. It's in Korean with English subtitles. I was reluctant to put this one on here. It's not listed on the Barnes & Noble website, or it's not available through them, but Amazon does have it for 50% off. So if you're a fan of those directors and that actor, I think you're going to like this one. It was a pleasant surprise, I thought. So feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion down below. Maybe some other Arrow titles you'd like to recommend to people watching this episode. I would like to thank, let me get my list, to thank the following people for leaving comments on various episodes since our last episode. They include Bondi, Jody, Diod, Pizza Suits, Sidekick Dusty, Tina, and Sean. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. We are almost at 825 subscribers, so let's push ahead. Our next goal is 850 subscribers. And let me give my spiel, which I haven't gone in a while, and that is I am not selling anything. I have no eBay store. I have no Twitch, except maybe, when I'm lying at bed at night or something. I don't have any merch except a couple of items people give me. I'm just here to share all this stuff. No Patreon either. Here to share all this stuff with you out there in the virtual darkness. I would like to thank the following people who have subscribed since our last episode: Ruddy, Artie, Rahishia, Alberto, Eric, and Dan. Thank you so much for subscribing. Subscribing is free. Also free as we're on the Letterboxd app. That's where we leave brief written reviews of other things we're watching that we usually don't talk about on this channel. And we're under the Kazdoy closet. There's a link in the show notes down below. Click on that. Most recently, we watched and posted brief reviews on The Little Shop of Horrors from 1960, Bartleby, Killers of the Flower Moon, and The Creator. So check those out if you'd like to. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it, and we will see you next time.